All right, everyone, welcome in to the NFL Secrets podcast. Just wrapped up day one of the draft. Kind of exciting. A lot of crazy stuff just happened. Here with my guy Dan. How we doing, Dan? How we feeling?
I'm excited to review the first round. I'm pretty shocked at a lot of these picks. A lot of the value didn't really add up to what a lot of people thought. So yeah, a lot of unexpected picks. I'm excited to go in. We're gonna go over, give a grade for each of these picks, each of our own grades. Just quickly go over every pick. So I'm excited.
Yeah, crazy start to the draft. I mean, with the Texans trading up and having two of the top three picks. Never seen that before. I mean,
I
four receivers going in a row. Just crazy draft. Super fun.
Yeah. Before we even start reviewing and grading every pick, let's just talk about our favorite moves. And I mean, obviously the move that stole the whole draft, one of the most brilliant GM moves I've seen in a while is the Texans getting CJ Stroud and then trading back up for Nico Ryan's dude, Will Anderson. I mean, that's it's just saying that out loud is crazy to me. And if I was a Texans fan, I would be so ecstatic, man. That is a beautiful pairing for the next decade. And wow, I love that for D'Amico Ryans.
Oh yeah, that's an A plus. I mean, the fact that they were able to pull that off is just ridiculous. I mean, that was when you saw the Texans trade up to number three, and I mean, it made so much. None of us thought about it, but it made so much sense. I mean, you get your guy on offense and you get your guy on defense, and those are your two young rookies that are hopefully there for the next decade. Both your most impactful positions, quarterback and edge, on each side of the ball. So I mean, that was awesome. Another move that I really liked. Sadly, I mean, value wise, I mean, the Patriots trading down, um, collecting another fourth round pick, and then also getting Christian Gonzalez, which is one of the steals of the draft, I think, right there. I mean, in that defensive scheme and everything, I mean, we might be talking about him being a top five corner, in the next few months here.
So ridiculous. Pairing Christian Gonzalez up, a big bodied, athletic, outside physical corner, pairing him up with Marcus Jones, Jack Jones, Jonathan Jones. That corner, that secondary in general is just going to be ridiculous for years to come. And what a move. Trading down too to get Christian Gonzalez, who people thought was like a top 10 pick a lock. That's just, man, that gets me excited for the Patriots. I love that so much.
And then we just have to address real quick the Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs, pick number
I
12.
They took Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell. That's the team I was mentioning when I was talking about value. I I don't know if the Lions knew what value is, or know what value is, or if they knew what these players were valued, or if they thought Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be drafted top 15. I don't
I mean,
know.
all of a sudden it sounded like he started getting a lot of top round, first round buzz today. But I mean, we're thinking back end of the first round. I mean, pick number 12. I mean, you understand Bijan Robinson. I mean, almost to that pick. I don't know why they didn't just stick and pick with their first pick. I mean, they traded out with who was it? Who had the 12th pick? Was it
The Cardinals traded back up for Paris Johnson.
oh yeah, Cardinals traded back up. It's almost like you stick and pick and just take Bijan there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, dude, like what were the Packers, Steelers, Jets, Redskins, Patriots going to take Jahmyr Gibbs? Like you got to trade down. Jack Campbell too. It's a linebacker. We both love Jack Campbell. That's both of our linebackers one, but you can't take him at 18 when no linebacker is even in sight to be threatening to go anywhere near 18. You got to trade down for both those picks. The Lions, I guarantee you, just had two players that they really wanted. The two favorite players in the draft. They got them. I respect it, but you got to know what value is. You got to trade down to get that.
Yeah, apparently positional value doesn't apply to them, which is just
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, I mean, but with that, let's get into the first pick and let's start our grades out. Just had to address
And I
the
don't want to completely crap on it. They're both great players. They're going to be good for the Lions. We'll talk about them a little more, but yeah, just interesting value. But yeah, let's not overshadow the best player in the draft. Let's give him his flowers. He deserves to be talked about too. Bryce Young. I give it an A. I don't know about you, but I give this pick an A all day long. Should have been Bryce Young all along.
Oh yeah, you trade up, you get your guy. He's probably pretty the most. I mean, we started overthinking it with other people, but I mean, Bryce Young, from how he tests to how he played, Heisman, he's the obvious pick. The Panthers wanted him. They traded up and get him. Your quarterback of the future. It's an A. There's not much complaining about that. You can't be unhappy.
Yeah, not much to talk about, but perfect fit. He's going to be great for that team. They're going to be a playoff contender in his rookie season, which is awesome. But we covered it a little bit. Number 2 and 3, Texans take CJ Stroud and then trade back up for the best defender in the draft, Will Anderson. I love it so much. A all around. I love CJ Stroud, but getting Will Anderson in there with CJ Stroud, that's so ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I mean, how can you hate that? I mean, obviously maybe you don't like the Houston Texans winning their last game of the season to lose the number 1 overall pick. I mean, you'd have liked to see them get Bryce Young, who they probably wanted. But I mean, how CJ Stroud played in that Georgia game, and how, I mean, he didn't maybe have the cognitive test, didn't do very well, but I mean, he's a football player. You watch him in that game. He's a locker room leader. He's an A+ player. That's the guy you want, running your franchise for the next 10 years. And Will Anderson, he's the top blue chip prospect in this draft. He's any other draft, where there's not good quarterbacks, he's going first overall. So it's the 2 A+ right there.
Just speechless about both those picks. I mean, it's just one of the funner draft moves on draft day that I've witnessed, where I was just absolutely shook. I hadn't even thought of it, and it was just a brilliant move. And hats off to the Texans. They killed it. They gave up a lot to do it, but it will be worth it in the end, for sure.
And they're one of my favorite sleeper teams. Oh, sorry. The Texans are one of my favorite sleeper teams.
In a few years, especially, the Texans are going to be really good.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Love it. Love what they did right there. Yeah, they aced those first 2 picks.
Yep, and then their division rival, Colts, took Anthony Richardson over Will Levis at 4. Some people expected Will Levis. I like it. There's not much you can really say negatively about it, other than Will Levis might be more ready to play now. Richardson, he's not ready to play now, so I don't know if they start Gardner Minshew or what. But I mean, Richardson, you can't deny the traits. You can't knock the pick at 4. It's good value at 4. He's a ridiculous quarterback prospect. He's gonna be good for the Colts. I'm pretty positive. I'll give him an A-.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a solid. I'm gonna give it a B+. How about that? I love the pick. I love Anthony Richardson. The talent is there. I mean, the athletic traits are the best we've ever seen from a quarterback. I think he's got a lot of room to develop. But I like the position he's in with Shane Steichen as his coach. I think he's a very quarterback friendly coach, especially a guy who's mobile. So I like it. I'm not going to give this one an A, but I'll give it a B+, which is a very good grade. And I think he's going to fit the system pretty well with Shane Steichen. And he's going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah, he's an exciting player. The Colts are going to be exciting with they do need more speed in the receiving core, I'll say, like with Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce. I think they need like a shorter slot, speedy receiver type. Maybe they get someone tomorrow, like Jalen Hyatt. But
the read option with Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor should be fun.
And Shane Steichen would work very well with Richardson, so I'm not worried about that. It's a great pick. Let's move on to Devon Witherspoon to the Seahawks. A lot of people thought they might get Tyree Wilson or Jalen Carter. They stick and they pair Tariq Woolen with one of the best young corner duos this league has seen recently, for sure.
Such an obvious pick, but no one thought about it. You rarely ever see Devon Witherspoon going 5 to the Seahawks. But the Legion of Boom is coming back. You obviously know what they want to do. They brought back Bobby Wagner back. They want to build on their defense, and that's an exciting pick for them.
Yeah, maybe I'm being generous, but I'll give him an A- as well. How can you not give Devon Witherspoon an A- at least? That he's just such a good player pairing with Tariq Woolen. I love it.
I'm gonna go a little lower than you, and the only reason I'm gonna go a little bit lower than you is because I had guys who are ranked higher in Jalen Carter and Tyree Wilson over him, who I thought maybe would have been a little bit better fits. And I think they could have waited to get a corner. I mean, especially we saw Joey Porter Jr. hasn't even been drafted yet. But I'm gonna give this one a B- just because I was much higher on Jalen Carter for them, and I felt like that would have been, I mean, pairing him with Draymond Jones and Uchenna Nwosu on that D line, it would have been just silly fun to watch. And I would have liked to seen that or Tyree Wilson, but you can't hate on Devon Witherspoon. You know, he's what's his name on the Browns? Blanking it. Been a crazy day. Yeah, Denzel Ward, you know, he's a clone of Denzel Ward, and Denzel Ward's top 10 corner in this league. So you can't hate it, but I'm gonna go B minus.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you mean. Taking Jalen Carter would be nice. But Paris Johnson to the Cardinals at 6. They trade down originally and then they trade back up to 6 to get Paris Johnson, the best overall offensive lineman in the class, best tackle. There was rumor that they would take him at 3. I love this pick a lot. It was rumored that Kyler actually really wanted him, and he asked the front office to take Paris Johnson. So it's just a great pick. Play anywhere on the offensive line, plug him in, and be a top 10 tackle wherever he plays. So I'll give it.
Yeah, I mean, and you like that they traded back and they picked up the capital. You know, they didn't need a stick and pick at 3. They got their dude. I'm going to give it an A too. You know, clean offensive tackle prospect. Yeah, you got to protect Kyler Murray. You know, you got to help him out. And I mean, you can't be mad. Number 1 offensive tackle prospect in this draft. I mean, I think they picked up a first, trading back for next year, which is phenomenal. So A for that one too.
Yeah. Great pick. Tyree Wilson, pairing him up with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. As a Broncos fan, I'm sure you're a Chargers fan. I'm sure you're not too excited about that either. It's not.
No, I'm not happy about this one.
It's not scary. That's for sure. It's a little scary. I'll say that.
No, he's a powerful edge rusher. I compare him to Jason Pierre-Paul. You know, freakish height, athletic dude. Definitely didn't want to see the Raiders get him. You know, we gotta protect our quarterbacks over there in the AFC West. But you know, they sat there at number 7. You know, they get the second best edge rusher. I'll give it a B plus right there for them.
And I'll give him an A. I mean, he's going top 5 in most mocks. He's a great player, top 5 player in the draft. I'll give it an A.
And the only reason I give him a B plus is because still I don't understand the fall of Jalen Carter. I mean, unless he truly ends up behind bars or something, but it seems like everything's going to be cleared up. And Jalen Carter's a top 3 player in this draft to me. And you know, I just can't. And I get the Raiders with their history of players not having very good luck. I get why they passed on him, but Jalen Carter is such a blue chip prospect to me. Remind me of Quinn Williams coming out of the draft, just such a stud. So that's why I'm going to give them a B plus.
And then at 8, you called it a few mock drafts ago. Our first mock draft.
I did.
Bijan Robinson at 8 to the Falcons. They don't trade down. They take him at 8.
You go cut up the tape. It's in the last mock draft. I started this agenda and I started thinking about it. You know, you don't Arthur Smith, you don't have a very good quarterback. You know, what's a quarterback's best friend? You know, the run game. You go get, you know, a top player in this draft, you know, one of a generational running back. I mean, no one's gonna deny that Bijan Robinson's not generational. You watch his tape, he's one of the best players coming out of college we've ever seen. And I love it. I mean, they already have a heck of a running game. You know, they just had Tyler Algier, I think, ran over 1,000 yards, Cordarrelle Patterson. But this guy's too much of a playmaker to pass up on. And, you know, Jahmyr Gibbs 4 picks later, I have to, you know, I can't believe it, but 2 running backs went in within the top 12. But I'm such a Bijan Robinson fan. You know, I think he was one of my favorite prospects in this draft. He was my guy. He reminds me of LaDainian Tomlinson. I'm really excited for the Falcons. I'm excited to see him in that system. So I'm going to give this one an A.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give this one a B plus. I mean, it is a running back in the top 10, but it is Bijan Robinson. And I do like him to probably the Eagles a little bit better because they're in a better position right now. The Falcons actually need a position called the quarterback, which would be helpful to have. A quarterback, you know, would be nice. But yeah, obviously.
Who's going to take Will Levis tomorrow? I would
Yeah,
like to see him on the Falcons. I think that'd be a great team.
it
I
would
think
be.
the
It would
Raiders
be.
might be a sleepy team too, but I'd love to see him on the Falcons. I mean, I don't think Desmond Ritter is good. He's not. And you'd have liked to see the Falcons trade up and maybe get an Anthony Richardson or something like that. But they stick it and pick it. They get one of the top players in this draft. One of my highest graded players ever. So I'll give it an A though.
And they have a great run game. He's going to be like a 2,000-yard rusher as a rookie. So that's just crazy. But yeah. Um, Jalen Carter, 9 to the Eagles. They're just pretty much just making Georgia over in Philadelphia with Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean last year, Jordan Davis last year. They went and got Nolan Smith. We'll talk about in a little bit, but this is an A. He's top player in this draft. If it wasn't for some off-field issues, he wouldn't have been here. You
Oh my
can't really
God.
say too much about this pick. It's an A, and they just got Jalen Carter. The Philadelphia Eagles, who just lost the Super Bowl, just got Jalen Carter.
Gotta clap for Howie Roseman, man. He
He
just
does it every
give
year.
the dude props. He does good. He does good. It's an A. You can forget about it. I mean, Jalen Carter to a team that was just in the Super Bowl is gross. A team with just drafted Jordan Davis last year, has Hassan Reddick. I mean, I guess they lost Javon Hargrave, but oh my gosh, what did they just replace it with? A plus for the Eagles.
Yeah. And then the Bears take Darnell Wright over Peter Skoronsky. They take their right tackle of the future. A little bit surprising to me, a little early for me. I'll give this one a B plus still. I mean, you get your right tackle for the future. It's not bad. He could end up being better than Skoronsky as a right tackle. So I like the pick a lot.
He was my guy, so I'm gonna have to hype this one up for myself. I don't think too many people were predicting him to go over Skronsky and everything. I absolutely love Darnell Wright. I love the physicality he brings, and I love the pick to the Chicago Bears. Him, I'd love to see Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert run behind Darnell Wright. I think that's going to be fantastic. The dude's a mauler. He moves like Trent Williams. I'm going to give this one an A.
Yep, the Bears are going to be running to the right a lot. That'll be fun.
Don't worry, everyone. We're gonna stop giving A's here soon.
Yeah, trust me. With the next pick. But yeah, no, the Titans, the first year GM showed his poise and he stood strong and just took a solid lineman, Peter Skoronsky. Not much to say. He can play anywhere on that offensive line. Great scheme fit. I'll give this one an A minus.
Yeah, I agree. An A minus right there. He can play. He's got his versatility. He's played inside, outside. They lost Taylor Lewan. I'd like to see Skronsky as a guard, but I'm sure he's going to be their starting left tackle. But we'll give it an A minus. The lineman all of a sudden, there's a little run on him right here. So they stood still. They got their guy, and A minus, good pick.
And the Lions shock the world and they take Jahmyr Gibbs, offensive weapon out of Alabama. It's an interesting one. They have David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift, as Josh mentioned. It's crazy. I mean, he's a great player. He's such a great player. He's such a fun player. He's going to be great for them. Jared Goff is going to be thrown to him a lot. It's interesting with all those running backs they have. It kind of makes it hard to grade because he's a great player. The value is not great, though. I can assure you he wouldn't have gone anywhere within the next few picks. Maybe the Chargers at 21, and that's a crazy reach if they did. So I don't know if that would happen. So I just feel like trading down would have been the better value here and getting him if that was actually their dude. I'm gonna give this one a C plus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking Jahmyr Gibbs for the player he is, but the positional value and who he is, he's a smaller running back, receiving running back. He's not a generational Bijan Robinson. I don't think you can justify a 12th overall pick on him, when there's so many more premium positions, especially when, you just went and signed David Montgomery in free agency and you have DeAndre Swift. It's like, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, he is an offensive weapon. Maybe they're planning on lining him up in the slot or something, but I like the player. I don't like the pick. I don't like the value of the pick at all. I'm going to give this one a C minus. I mean, I like the player. I do not like where he's picked. I mean, we're hearing rumblings of the Dolphins trading up, and they would only have been able to trade up until like the late first round for him. They didn't have much draft capital, but 12th
It's just like
overall.
when you look at the teams after the Lions, I mean, which of these teams realistically would have actually realistically been even interested in Jahmyr Gibbs? I mean,
Maybe the Chargers. We started hearing that from
yeah,
our PFF.
literally, once you get to the Chargers, Ravens, Vikings, like maybe that. But like they could
That's
have
still
done that
high.
with they have
High.
another pick right here, like at
Take him at
18.
18 if you like it. You
Yeah.
know, there's so much more room for a better prospect.
They
And
could have gone Christian Gonzalez here at 12, Jahmyr Gibbs at 18, Jack Campbell in the second round, 100%, you know? Like I feel like they didn't really just navigate their value the best. They kind of just didn't really show the best poise in this draft, I will say.
oh, and even trade down from 12 again, collect more draft capital. Yeah, get him at 18, then trade back into the first round and get Jack Campbell maybe at pick 31 or something, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's way too high for my liking.
And then their division rival, Packers, they go Lucas Van Ness, who's just a super Packers player. Let's be real. I feel like everyone kind of thought of this as they were doing mock drafts. They kind of realized he would be in consideration at least for this pick.
I feel like a Packers player, you know,
Yeah,
just you know, a
and
guy with that side. But
he's in a perfect situation too. Just kind of put him behind Preston Smith and Sean Gary, rotate him around, just develop him, and he's got all the tools. They could be a really good player over there in Green Bay. I'm gonna give this one a B.
no, I see on this ESPN Matt Miller is NFL conference Preston Smith, which is funny.
Oh,
And I feel like he's got the upside of Rashawn Gary. So I mean, I like Lucas Van Ness, you know. I mean, dude's a physical freak. Do I love the spot that he's taken? Do I like the guys he's taken over? No. But is it a Packers pick? Absolutely. Would I have loved to see the Packers take JSN way more? Yes.
yeah.
Why don't they help their quarterback in their offense? Why don't they just draft a first round receiver ever? I don't know. Maybe it's just not their thing. But I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give it a C.
Okay. Yeah, good pick. He's a good player. Broderick Jones, the Steelers traded up for Broderick Jones, just a few picks. I absolutely love this pick. This one's an A for me. I had this in my final mock draft. I probably had this in my first mock draft. It's a perfect fit. They need a left tackle. They need a right tackle. He can play both very well. They have his comp as Tristan Wirfs, and that's perfect. I love that a lot. Broderick Jones, he's athletic. He's a good pass protector. I just think he's a solid left tackle for the Steelers for years to come. And that's a great value considering they could still get Joey Porter with the first pick in the second round. That's beautiful.
You know, and the linemen started going, and if you wanted your guy at offensive tackle and you needed to protect Kenny Pickett, you had to go up and get your guy in Broderick Jones. So I absolutely love the pick too. You know, they still have, and they held on. I think they only gave up a fourth. So, you know, not much to move up. Was it 3 or 4 spots?
Yeah.
And, you know, right after these guys, I mean, it looked like they had the Jets war room shook. I mean, the Jets, I mean, you could tell the Jets were planning on taking Broderick Jones. Caught him off guard, as you can see by their next pick.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm going to give the Steelers for executing this trade and not giving up much. And I'm going to give it an A. And, you know, we all liked Joey Porter Jr. to him. Guess what? He's available still. And, you know, they have the first pick of the second round. So if they do that, then that's an A+ draft already right there. I love it.
Crazy. Yeah. And then with the next pick, like you said, the Jets were a little bit shook after Broderick Jones was taken. All the offensive tackles were taken. I don't know if they really knew what to do. They took Will McDonald over. Let's see. They took Will McDonald over Miles Murphy, Brian Breesy, Nolan Smith, Mozzie Smith. I mean,
Elijah Kennedy. I would have liked to have seen him next to Quinn Williams. That would have been exciting at least.
And I don't have our lads pulled up right now. I don't have their depth chart pulled up, but I know that they have Bryce Huff. They've got Franklin Myers. They've got they drafted Jermaine Johnson in the first last year. They drafted Michael Clemens last year, who was really good. I'm sure that they have another edge rusher. I'm forgetting. Like the Jets have a really good edge rush room, and they just drafted Will McDonald at 15. They could have traded down and got him. Pretty terrible pick to me. I'm going to give this one a D-. And Will McDonald's a good player, just not at 15 at all. I like Will McDonald not here.
You know, like the player, don't like the spot. But yeah, I mean, you saw the Jets war, and this pick took all the 10 minutes, and, you know, it looked like they were possibly trying to trade out of it. They didn't know it. Broderick Jones was their pick. It had to have been. And they panicked, I think, a little bit, and I think they're trying to trade. I don't think they could trade out. But I mean, there's a whole handful of players that I feel like would have been a better fit. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers. You're in a win now situation. You know, you got Aaron Rodgers for a year or two, so you got to win in that window. And I would have liked to have seen Dalton Kincaid or I mean, their tight end room's not great. Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer, or just a better edge rusher, Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy, or Brian Breesy. I mean, that would have been a little bit fun. I think this was a reach. I'm going to give it a D2.
Yeah, for a team that just got all Aaron Rodgers, who's trying to go all in for a Super Bowl, Kincaid would have made a lot of sense here at Mayer. Someone that they could have kind of just used now and made an impact as a rookie. But Will McDonald will just be a pass rush specialist. He'll be a good one. He's a good, fun player. But just
Yeah, he'll be good. But yeah, D plus pick or D on that.
yeah, and this one is also a D minus to me. Emmanuel Forbes to the Washington Commanders. They took him a pick over Christian Gonzalez, who was supposed to go top 10, who's a great scheme fit for Washington. They took Emmanuel Forbes over him. I get that you probably fell in love with Emmanuel Forbes over the process. I understand that. You could have took him second round. You could have traded back up for him easily. When Christian Gonzalez is there, there's just a value. Oh, Deontay Banks somehow slipped through the cracks this draft to 25. I mean, I just cannot get. I'm gonna give this one an F. D minus is way too nice. This is
Yeah, I
not.
was gonna say this is a slap an F on this one. I mean, the dude, he's a skinny, smaller guy. I mean, I get you could have fallen in love with him over the draft process, but at 16, when you have Christian Gonzalez on the board and Deontay Banks and Joey Porter still hasn't been drafted, and even Brian Branch, who still hasn't been drafted, all these guys would have been better picks. But I mean, I get it. I would have liked to see them address their offensive line needs. I mean, they're going into this year with Sam Howell, going to leave him out to the Wolves. I mean, he's probably going to get eaten alive. I mean, I do like their receiving room. Also, they got Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs guy. Why can't believe they didn't fall in love with a Dalton Kincaid or one of these tight ends. But yeah, a D minus from you at first was way too generous. This is an F. It's
Yeah, and
bad.
I mentioned they took him over Christian Gonzalez and Deontay Banks, two of the best corners we'll see. Uh, I think they took Emmanuel Forbes because he's tall and skinny and can play press and stuff, but they took him over Joey Porter, who's the best tall and skinny and press corner in this draft. He's by far a better corner in every category than Forbes. So it's a terrible pick. I'll be honest. But 17 Patriots A plus. We already mentioned this. It's the opposite, really, of the Redskin or the Washington. It's a perfect pick.
I mean, what absolute cool asses the Patriots were. We're gonna trade down. We're gonna collect a fourth round pick, and we're gonna get our guy at 17. A guy that probably shouldn't have been at their 12th pick or whatever, or 14th pick that they had. Um, you know, this guy's got some of the cleanest tape, cleanest footwork. He's absolutely scheme proof. I mean, he's versatile. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. He's actually got the mass to him. He ran in the 4.3s. I mean, another clap it up for Bill Belichick and the team, because this guy, I mean, he's probably going to have 5-6 picks his rookie year, and he's going to be a top corner in that system. I mean, it's just flawless. Love the pick.
Man, I'm just looking at Christian Gonzalez's name next to that Patriots logo, and it's just not even processing in my mind right now. It's just crazy. It's just ridiculous. Washington, that's all on you. You guys did this to the AFC. Thank you. Washington, thank you so much. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's a pick. Not much to say. It's just a perfect pick. You traded down to get Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Jack Campbell, I'm gonna give this one a D, not because it's not a great fit or not because he's not a great player, but not good value. Devin Lloyd was the first linebacker last year. Him and Quay Walker, and they both went very end of first round. No chance I'm taking Jack Campbell over some of these prospects. No, he's a good player. It's a good fit. He seems like a Dan Campbell guy, but no, he can go second round, not here.
Yeah, no, I mean, even trade back again. I'm going to give it a C. I like the player. They got, their favorite linebacker. So I'll give them props for that. They took the player they like. It's way too early for me, for my liking. They really reached. Obviously, they had their board and they liked their guys, and that's how they went with it. But I mean, gosh, it's too early. And I mean, Jack Campbell's not some generational linebacker. I mean, he plays mean. He's one of the only true middle linebackers in this class, but yeah, it's too early for my liking. No positional value. I mean, I'd like to see them address their edge or their interior a little bit more, or even a tight end. I mean, they traded T.J. Hawkinson last year. Get your number one tight end. That would have been better value for you. But I'll give them a C for this one.
Yeah, tight end would have been great here, taking your pick at tight end. I did want to mention, I forgot about Christian Gonzalez. They compare him to AJ Terrell here, and I love that so much because I think AJ Terrell was the 17th overall pick to the Falcons. Super similar players. Everyone's just sleeping on him apparently, and yeah, he's going to be very good. So I love that. But on to the Buccaneers at 19. They take Kalijah Cansey. Surprised some people. But I like the pick, pairing him with Vita Vea, a good complementary duo. Get the pass rusher next to the big run stuffer. I like it. Good value. You got a lot of potential, a lot of pass rushing upside. I like Cansey. I'll give this one a B.
Yeah, I agree with that. I like the B. I would, their offense, not nothing to write home about, but why not build on top of your defense? And like you said, the pairing next to Vita Vea, a giant big run stuffer, and then adding a guy with speed who's got amazing pass rush moves. That's a fun pick. We'll give it a B. Not too mad, not too happy about it, but yeah, a solid B for that is a great pick.
Fun player. And then you get the Seattle Seahawks pairing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett with Jackson Smith and Jigba, which is awesome.
Perfect.
One of the better receiver cores, one of the most complimentary, well-rounded receiving cores I've seen. I love it so much. I'm going to give this one an A-. It's just great value too. You thought Jackson Smith and Jigba was going around 12 to 15, so I love it.
Oh, fantastic value. I didn't think he'd be there at 20. I'm a little mixed emotions about all these receivers. I feel like all of a sudden I'm like, my rankings and everything, my head's spinning with them, but none of them go until 20, and then 4 go in a row, which we've never seen in the common draft era. It's the first time that's ever happened. So it's weird. It's like, where were these guys ranked? They're obviously really close to each other. But Jackson Smith and Jigba was a really fun prospect. He was my wide receiver one. I think he's the only true possession receiver in this draft, which is one of the most important things in the NFL. I mean, I like that comparison of CeeDee Lamb to him because probably be a 100-catch guy. In the Seattle offense, because they got 3 good receivers who are both, the other 2 are both capable of 100 catches too. I think he'd be a 75 to 80 catch guy, with those 2. But, complements that receiving core perfectly. So I'll give it an A. I like the pick.
And then the next receiver to go out of 4 in a row is Quentin Johnson to your LA Chargers. How are you feeling about that one?
It threw me. It caught me off guard. It was weird. I absolutely love it. We're in a league that's turning to offense. I love what the Eagles did. But you had one of the best defenses ever. You set the sack record. But you couldn't keep up with Mahomes. So the Chargers are playing to keep up with Mahomes. That's what they're doing. They're chasing the Chiefs. And how do you do that? You add a playmaker. You add a guy that, every time he touches the ball, he can bring, he can take it to the house, which is, arguably his best skill set. From a guy who's 6'3", 208 pounds, you'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive. So I'm going to go into a little bit more depth because the Chargers are my team. I'm passionate about it. But I do love the pick. It caught me off guard. It's a premium position. There's some other guys that I would have liked to have seen too. But, adding Quentin Johnson to a receiving room with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Jalen Guyton, and Josh Palmer is going to be exciting. So I'm not going to give my Chargers an A. I will give them a B+ though, because, let's go attack. Let's put up some points. Let's get Justin Herbert another weapon, B+.
Yeah, I love Quentin Johnson. I texted you last night. I was kind of just watching some more Quentin Johnson film before draft day, and I texted you that he reminded me of Demaryius Thomas the more I watch him, and he really does play like him. He's just big. He's got the frame, and he's just so fast. He shouldn't be as fast as he is for his size, and he's like Debo after the catch. He's getting the ball anywhere, and he's like Debo. I love Quentin Johnston. He's got a lot to work on, but I told you today, once you guys drafted him, you guys got the receiver in this class with the most upside, and you put him in the best situation for all these receivers with Herbert and Kellen Moore. So I I love the pick. I'm gonna give it a B plus, and yeah, I really am starting to grow on this pick.
Yeah, it's growing. The more we sit and think about it, the more you talk to me about it, it's growing on me, and I love the comparison to Debo after the catch, and that's one of the things the Chargers are lacking the most is explosive plays. And you watch this guy; he takes a slant and takes it to the house, and that's what I would tell you last year. I'm like, dude, it'd just be so nice if we just had a guy that could, you know, was great after the catch, and we haven't had that. So I am very excited to see Quentin Johnston. Fun player, you said it. Great fit with the Chargers. And the receiving core is going to be fun. B plus.
B plus. Okay. I like it. We agree on that one. And then the third receiver out of 4 in a row goes to the Ravens, complimenting the most expensive quarterback in the NFL now, Lamar Jackson, with Odell Beckham and Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, and Mark Andrews. So it's pretty good receiving core. I'm gonna give this one a B plus just because I would have rather had Deontay Banks in Maryland. But I mean, getting Lamar Jackson, a dude like that complements your receiving core really well. Well, I like Zay Flowers is a really fun player.
And this was a pick to make Lamar happy. I mean, they needed to do something to get him excited, to bring him back. Go sign Odell Beckham Jr., go draft. And I'm sure after he signed that contract today, he's like, I want another receiver. I want another playmaker to this offense. And, that's what they did. I do and I don't love the system he's going into. I think he's going to be a dynamic, explosive player for the Ravens? Yes. Do I think he's going to be an ultra productive dude that's putting up 1,000 yards a year, scoring 10 touchdowns? No, not at all. I see him as more of a 500-600 yard guy and maybe 5 touchdowns. But that's kind of how the Ravens, their scheme works. They did get a new offensive coordinator. They got rid of what was his name, old man Wink Martindale. Yep. So I mean, it'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how their offense runs this year. I'm gonna give this one. It's the third
Greg
receiver.
Roman, by the way.
Oh, Greg Roman. Wink Martindale was the defensive coordinator that went to the Giants. Yes, Greg Roman. That guy's been there forever. Brain fart right there. But I'm gonna give this one a C plus.
C plus. Okay.
Like you said, I would have liked some other players a little bit more right here, especially Deontay Banks, and that he was there at that pick.
The Vikings going Jordan Addison out of USC at 24. I like this pick. I like pairing him with Justin Jefferson. Obviously, that's exciting. I feel like there might have been some more pressing needs, like Deontay Banks could have been awesome here. Brian Breesy, Nolan Smith. But I like the pick a lot. He's a really good receiver. He's kind of just falling down. Everyone's bored because he's been good for so long, really. But yeah, pairing him with Justin Jefferson, it's super exciting. Replacing Adam Thielen. I'm going to give this one a B.
Yeah, he was the fourth wide receiver off the board. Excuse me there. But yeah, I mean, there was definitely more pressing needs. Their defense was terrible last year. But you lost Adam Thielen. You got to get a wide receiver too. That's what the NFL is coming to. Jordan Addison is a stud. I think he does. I mean, he's a technician for sure. He's a smaller technician. Slight traits of Devontae Smith is who he kind of reminds me of. He won the Blinkoff Award for the best wide receiver in the country 2 years ago when he played at Pittsburgh with Kenny Pickett. But I think he's a solid player. I think he's a good player. It's kind of crazy. 4 wide receivers go in a row. He's the last one to go. I'll give it a B too. Not a bad pick. Probably a little bit more pressing needs on the defensive side of the ball, but we'll see how they address the rest of the draft. But getting a solid wide receiver too behind Justin Jefferson is a great pick.
And you're right. You mentioned how smart he is as like a route runner and just a player in general. I think he'd complement Kirk Cousins really well. I think they'll work really well together. They'll probably have a lot of first down connections. I feel like he'll trust Jordan Addison. He'll probably outproduce a few of these receivers that he went behind, just because he's in that really good spot.
He gets to step into a role as wide receiver too immediately. So yeah. So fantasy sleeper right there. Probably be a little later.
He's a really smart receiver, good out route runner. Gets open. I like that for the Vikings. But the Giants get in my opinion, probably the steal of the first round. Personally, I couldn't believe that he was there at 25. I was just assumed that Deontay Banks was off the board at that point, and trading up just like one pick to get Deontay Banks is a beautiful move for the Giants and a really good scheme fit for Wink Martindale. I love it so much. Deontay Banks, one of my favorite players in this class. Getting him in that secondary with Dory Jackson and Garnett Holmes and a few other players. I love that a lot. I'm going to give this one an A plus.
Yeah, fantastic pick by the Giants. You know, they held their guns. They did have to move up one spot to get him. I mean, but he should have never been here. He should have been a top 20 player all day long. I mean, this dude, 6 foot, 200 pounds, running a 4.3, tested the best we've ever seen anyone test. I mean, he had a perfect 10 out of 10 RAS score. You know, number one out of, I think when they started doing that, out of 4,500 people, 4,500. You know, it's just nuts. I think he's going to step in day one and be an instant contributor to that defense. He never should have been there at pick 25, but A for the Giants on that one. Fantastic pick.
Yeah, I love it so much. And I mean, he's a really close player as a prospect to Tariq Woolen coming out last year. And Tariq Woolen, if that draft would have been done over again, is a top 10 pick. So I cannot believe he fell. I really can't. But I love Deontay Banks so much. That's a beautiful pick.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite pick of the draft, as you can see by my hat, Dalton Kincaid to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen throwing Dalton Kincaid the ball is just, it makes me so happy. It makes me so excited. I can't wait to see Josh Allen, what they can do together. I mean, he'll be their best slot receiver. He's not just replacing Dawson Knox. He's replacing Isaiah McKenzie. He's going to be their best slot producer. I really hope he stays healthy, man, because that is going to be such a fun fit in Buffalo with that offense with Josh Allen and that scheme, just scheming up Dalton Kincaid on screens and just getting him the ball. It's going to be so fun, man. I'm giving this one an A plus. It's my boy.
Oh man, the value there at pick number 25 is just fantastic. I mean, they jumped right ahead of the Cowboys, who looked like they were going to take him, stole him right from under them. They get the number one tight end in this class. You know, the guy with the best hands, the best route running. I mean, gosh, you hate to see it being another AFC, you know, another AFC team getting better, getting another tight end to pair with Josh Allen. I mean, that's a great pick. Dawson Knox hasn't lived up to the hype at all. Been quite disappointing. I think Dalton Kincaid's going to step in and be a stud from day one. A little sad, hurts my heart because, you know, I was kind of rooting for him to go to the Chargers. Still happy, but that's a great pick for the Bills. Great value. You know, I'm going to give that one an A. It's going to be fun to see him paired with Josh Allen. I mean, dude's got sticky hands. He's going to be probably an 80 catch guy, you know, for a tight end in his rookie season, which is phenomenal.
I seriously love it so much. Get him in fantasy too. Dynasty, any league, really. Just get him in fantasy. He's a lot better than Dawson Knox.
Yeah, he's gonna produce. That's such a great spot for him to land. I mean, good for Dalton Kincaid, good for the Bills. Sad for us teams, us fans who like other teams in the AFC.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe it happened. But Mazi Smith actually did this in our first mock draft we did. I love this fit. They've been kind of linked together, the Cowboys and Mazi Smith. I love this fit. They've needed any run defense help they can get for the last few years. I love it. I love getting Mazi Smith in there, a super underrated prospect. Great fit. I'm going to give this one an A minus.
Yeah, you've been saying this one for a long time. It was right as it happened. We were watching the draft together, and I looked over our other buddy and said, Dan's been talking about this one for a while. And you know, it is a really good fit. He fits the scheme perfectly. I mean, he's a true, you know, one technique, line him right up over the center, you know, take on double teams, rarely get pushed back. You know, probably a really good spot for him. You know, I could have seen him maybe fall into the second round. And there's a couple other guys would have rather taken over him. So I'm going to give that a B, but still overall a great pick.
Yeah, you do take him over Breesy, Miles Murphy, Nolan Smith, so that does hurt a little bit, but just seemed like a Cowboys pick, really good fit.
For sure.
Jaguars will take Anton Harrison over Dewan Jones to replace Jawan Taylor. It looks like he will be playing on the right in the future, but Cam Robinson did just get suspended, so they could just start him out on the left. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him, but I love the pick. He was my round one sleep. He was my sleeper for the round one, so I'm really happy got drafted in the round one. He really deserves it, and super good all around tackle, the youngest one, good upside. I love this pick. I'm gonna give this one an A-.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do when you know get your franchise quarterback? You got to protect him, and so that was probably priority number one. You know, he can play left tackle, he can play right tackle. Cam Robinson is facing a suspension. You got to replace Jawan Taylor. So I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer pick, especially because you know top linemen are going fast and early. I think there's going to be a big drop off in the second round. So you know, for a flexible left tackle, I'm going to give this one A because it's really the best player available for their specific needs, and protecting Trevor Lawrence has got to be priority number one. So A pick.
Yeah, this was also a pick that was kind of linked throughout the process. A lot of mock drafts had Anton Harrison going to the Jaguars, but Miles Murphy goes to the Bengals. He is added to a D line with Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, BJ Hill, and DJ Reader, which is crazy. Just move him around that D line. With his upside and potential and his athleticism, that's really fun. I'm giving this one an A-. I love this pick for the. I'm giving this one an A. I love this pick for the Bengals.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, phenomenal spot to be drafted. You know, I mean, the rich get richer on their defensive line. I mean, great fit. It's going to be fun to see him and Trey Hendrickson, you know, get after it. Um, you know, I thought this guy could have gone as high as top 15. So, I mean, getting him at pick 28, phenomenal value. There's nothing you can hate about the picks. The dude's got tremendous upside. Let's give this one. I'll give it an A too. It's a great pick.
Yeah, like you said, if he would have gone into the draft 2 years ago, if he could have, he would be a top 5 pick. So getting him here at the back end of the first round for a team that's good is just house money for Lou Anarumo, and I'm excited to watch that.
And that's positional value. Getting a top tier player at a top tier position towards the end of the first round that can immediately come in and produce for your team. That's just phenomenal job.
And then the Saints going at Brian Breesy, Miles Murphy's Clemson teammate. And I love Brian Breesy, one of my favorite defensive prospects. We knew the Saints were going to take a D lineman. I love this fit. I love just Brian Breesy as a player. I love his outlook in New Orleans. I think he's going to be a great player for them. I'm going to give this one an A-.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of another one. There's a few picks that we kind of got right in our pre-draft process. You know, once the first couple picks go, it all goes all whack. But this was kind of one we kind of predicted for a long time. Glad for them that they didn't go get Keon White. Brian Breesy, much better player.
Yeah.
It seemed like Keon White was being linked to them so much. But Brian Breesy, it's a phenomenal player. He's got tremendous upside. You had a comparison to him a little while back that I really liked of Chris Jones. And that's a great pick, great value. I'm going to give this one a B+.
I love it. Yeah, great pick, great value. Speaking of great value, Nolan Smith somehow goes to the Eagles at 31, man. Nolan Smith to the Eagles, just Georgia University.
Yeah.
Philadelphia is just Georgia now, but I mean, I can't believe it. Getting him behind Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, Robert Quinn. I mean,
Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. It's like, holy hell, how much more can you add to this defensive front?
And all draft process, he was rising. He was doing everything he could to rise up draft boards. I don't know what made him fall here. Obviously, this is an A+ pick because I'm not a medic. I don't know if there's something wrong with him, but I don't know why he would fall here. It makes no sense.
Yeah, what is it? What could it possibly be? I mean, is there something we don't know about? Is there an injury concern? Didn't seem like it at
Yeah,
Georgia.
he came back from the injury and tested really well, and he's obviously he'll never have a. This is one guy, probably the one guy I can ever say this about. He'll never have a character concern in his whole career ever. That's the one guy I can probably ever confidently say that about. Nolan Smith's the best captain, most humble dude you'll ever meet. So I mean, I don't know why this guy is following, but the Eagles are just man, like you were saying earlier, there's got to be conspiracy to this or something because I don't know what is wrong with Nolan Smith, but man.
Apparently, he was wearing a green socks and at a N'Kobe Dean draft party. So conspiracy, maybe I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
How does he fall to 30? When you run a 4.38 as a defensive end, um, when you got all the upside in the world, when your average depth of tackle was 0.5 yards, when you could stop the run, when you have, I mean, when you're running that fast, I mean, you can develop your pass rushing moves. I mean, this dude's got so much upside. The players that were picked ahead of him, I mean, Will McDonald, Brian, I mean, there's just so many people that are picked ahead of him. I mean, even Miles Murphy. I mean, I get Miles Murphy. You could have talked me into that one, but like Will McDonald, Mozzie Smith. I mean, there's just so much better. I mean, it didn't make sense to me at all. It did not make sense to me. But another case of the rich getting richer. Congratulations to Howie Roseman on another A+ draft. Somehow you get two players that should have never fallen to you in the first round after you're just in the Super Bowl. A+ pick for him. Just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. I can't believe he fell. We'll go to the Super Bowl champs. Kansas City Chiefs get Felix Enrique-Uzama, the edge rusher out of Kansas State, keeping him in house or keeping him in state. I think they really just wanted an edge rusher, and I think they kind of fell in love with him being in state and all. Uh, he was probably the best edge rusher available, which says a lot because the edge rushers were just flying off the board at this point. I like the pick. I'm giving it a C plus just because it's not scary to me. His upside isn't scary to me. He's got a good floor. He's a good player. He really is. Their comp is Josh Sweat, and I actually like that. He's a great player too. But I don't know. I just this pick doesn't scare me. It kind of just reminds me of George Karlaftis. Just another one of him. Good player though. Good solid player. I'll give this one a C plus.
Yeah, I feel like you know what you're getting out of him. Solid player. Um, you know, us both being in the AFC West, we were sweating a little, thinking Nolan Smith was going to be a Chief, just having nightmares of ridiculous players fall into him, which they almost did. I mean, Nolan Smith almost did. He was one pick away. Um, I'm super glad that didn't happen. But yeah, Felix Anaduke Uzama gonna be. I mean, I'm sure he'll be a solid player. Like you said, feels like another George Karlaftis. Nothing I'm super scared of. Nothing I'm super blown away with, but okay player. Probably about he probably would have been picked pretty high in the second round if he didn't go right there. So I'll give it a C plus.
Yeah, and there's our grades for the first round. Quickly, we'll just go over the best players available and maybe some fits. Will Levis, obviously, is absolutely crazy. He fell out of the first round. I can't believe it. The
I don't
Vikings
understand. I don't
not
understand.
taking him is crazy. I can't believe. I don't understand. We both like Will Levis. Like there came to a point where people were just getting so low on him where we became high on him because he's got a good floor. He's a good quarterback. He's got a higher floor than Richardson, who's going to start day one. So I mean,
Yeah,
I
he's
don't know.
6'4", 230 pounds. He's got the physical traits. He played in the SEC against some of the top level competition. With not great surrounding talent. It just didn't make any sense to me that no one picked him or no one traded up. I mean, doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Maybe there's some character concerns or something we don't know about. But I mean, you watch this dude go out there. I mean, he's got a ridiculously strong arm. He's a mobile quarterback. You see him hurdling people in highlight tapes, which is just hilarious to watch. He's big, strong, got the profile. It's crazy to me the team didn't take a chance on him in the first round. You
And I
know,
mean, looking here realistically, I mean, I don't know, maybe the Raiders could take him, but I honestly think unless the Titans take him, he's not going to go until
Falcons.
like,
I would like to see him on the Falcons. That's one pick I would like.
yeah,
I
I
think
mean, Atlanta, Washington, or
Yeah,
uh,
I mean, jeez.
Atlanta, Washington, or Minnesota need to make a move for
Yeah, I mean
too
Atlanta.
good of a player.
I would like to see Atlanta trade up, and heck, Will Levis and Bijan Robinson. That's not a bad draft. It's not a bad draft at all.
Not at all.
They talked me into Will Levis at pick number 8 when the Falcons were picking. Well, I wouldn't have questioned it.
For sure.
Clearly there's something that we don't have the inside information to on why he fell and why no one took a chance on him. We'll just have to see, you know. I think, if there's no character concerns, there's no red flags, I think a team's going to get a steal in day 2 on him. There's nothing but upside for this guy. I mean, he went and played Florida and beat up Anthony Richardson. So
yeah, we're both pretty shook about it. Both of us can't really believe it. Neither of us have him anywhere near a day 2 grade. So we'll see. But let's talk about these secondary players that fell very surprisingly. Joey Porter Jr. and Brian Branch. Both 100% deserve to be first rounders. I can't believe this either. But where do you see them ending up?
I mean, heck, but with those, just to speak on Brian Branch and Joey Porter Jr., again, there's not a lot of concerns with these guys. Why? It's crazy that they fell. I mean, guys like Emmanuel Forbes and Jack Campbell going over Brian Branch and Joey Porter Jr. I mean, Brian Branch is about the cleanest prospect you can get. I mean, a guy from Alabama, lowest missed tackle rate in PFF history. I mean, just an absolute stud. But heck, I mean, almost all these teams here, Steelers would be great. Obviously, they could take Brian Branch or Joey Porter. That's a great pick. Cardinals, they need secondary. They could go.
Cardinals make a lot of sense replacing Budda Baker. They could just trade Budda Baker, take Brian Branch. Steelers kind of feel like Joey Porter, but you never know.
I mean, Steelers, you kind of lock Joey Porter in there. You think
you would think, which kind of means they probably won't take him. They're probably taking Keanu Ben or something like that. So who knows?
I know, the legacy's sitting there. He's available. He seems to have fallen. It's like you think it would happen, but you never know. But he would make sense there. Brian Branch would make sense there. I mean, I think that these first 3 teams could all take these secondary players.
The Lions make a lot of sense for Michael Mayer.
Oh man,
they could wait. Raiders make sense for one of those players for sure.
Oh yeah.
I do want to talk about O'Cyrus Torrence not going in the first round as well. He'll probably find a home really early tomorrow.
We didn't have a guard or a center go in the first round.
No, not one interior player went. O'Cyrus Torrence will go really early. He could go second to the Cardinals.
Oh, for sure. That would be a great pick. Add to that line. Keep adding to that line.
Yeah.
Who do we think's gonna? I think we're gonna see some trades tomorrow, some player trades. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Devin White. And there's a few players that could definitely get traded tomorrow, which would be interesting to see. DeAndre Hopkins, he was a trade candidate for the day, didn't end up happening. But yeah, let's see. I mean, let's just go. Wow, yeah, Michael Mayer. I'd love to see him on the Lions. I'd give that an A+ pick. That would make up for that Jack Campbell pick. I'd rather see them take Michael Mayer at 18 and then wait for Jack Campbell till the second round.
Yeah, Mayer definitely deserves to be a first rounder. There's still BJ Ojulari,
Darnell Washington. He's going to be fun to see where he goes. The tight ends, this was one of the most stacked tight end classes, and we've only seen one go. So day 2.
Dewan Jones still being available. He'll go early. Josh Downs, some really good players. So we will have an episode out to you by Sunday or Monday, just reviewing the rest of the draft. So we'll kind of just cover every team, go over every team's final mocks, kind of grade every team. So yeah, our next episode will be covering, instead of the whole first round, we'll be covering the whole draft and our favorite picks, our winners and losers of the draft. So definitely looking forward to that. Make sure you check out NFL Seekers podcast to stay updated with all the draft news. And we're going to be doing a lot of team rankings and grades this offseason, talking about the draft and upcoming season. So we're really excited for that. But yeah, today was really fun. It was a fun first round. A lot of interesting, surprising picks. A lot of fun, really bold moves like the Texans. So it was a really fun draft.
I mean, crazy draft as always. Caught us off guard a lot of great picks, a lot of head scratchers. a lot of great talent going into day 2, and I'm excited to keep everyone updated and covered for the next few days. But yeah, check us out on Sunday. Make sure to comment, give us your thoughts, like, share, subscribe. Find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. But yeah, check us out.
All right. Yep. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.